My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, welcome back. Today we've got a special guest zooming in from New York City. Robert Politzer is an experienced real estate entrepreneur doing something kind of different with his company, Green Street Global. It's all about going green, helping real estate investors make their buildings green. So upgrading them, that's kind of like the new value add. And Robert and his gang are up to something very interesting in the hotel space. They've got a big project that they've got underway, and that's what we're going to be talking about here today. So Robert, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks, Dave. It's great to be here with you.
So for us folks that aren't super up to speed on green building upgrades, can you give us a little snapshot of what that actually means and how you've turned this into a business? Just to give us the big broad strokes.
Sure. So fundamentally, green building upgrades in the Green Street Global lexicon, if you will, is all about profitable decarbonization.
Okay.
So, commercial buildings are responsible for on the order of 40% of global carbon emissions. Every commercial building owner around the world is going to have more and more of an issue with their buildings that are emitting excessive greenhouse gases. It's going to be lowering the value of their buildings. It's going to, in some cases, it's going to turn buildings into stranded assets. And this is happening on a number of fronts. It's happening from a regulatory angle. So, for example, in New York City, in Boston, in the state of Maryland, in California, a number of locations, there are growing low carbon mandates, and failure to comply with these mandates is going to result in fines. So there's that one liability. But then there's the market-based liability, where there's a growing understanding that brown buildings, if you will, tired buildings with excess carbon emissions, are worth less money in the marketplace for a variety of reasons. So our approach is to think about our entire program as the new value add, the value add for this current marketplace, not only in the US, but globally. And
okay, so basically, if I'm understanding correctly, Robert, you're taking older, kind of tired brown buildings and turning them green. You're upgrading them so they become green. That's kind of the business model behind that. There's regulatory reasons behind that. There's social reasons behind that.
Yes.
And it's, like you say, the new value add. So without getting into too much detail, because we don't have time for it, but can you kind of big broad strokes give me an idea of how do you guys green up an old rundown brown building?
Great. So we have a proprietary 3-phase program. This is something that I've developed over the last 15 years. It's informed by the 25 years of experience that I've had and my company's had in green building work. So phase 1 is our cost saving solutions. This is novel. This is unique to our program. We now have over 60 different cost saving solutions that we bring to clients, all of which can be implemented with a shared savings model. So our interests are fully tied in with the interests of our clients. If we don't save them money with these cost saving solutions, we don't get paid. But that's just never going to happen with our over 60 different solutions. We will typically lower utility costs and business operating costs on the order of 20 to 30 and sometimes up to 40%.
Okay, so without spilling the beans on all the different 60 things that you do, what would be an example of that?
Yeah. So let's take hotels, which is a specialty of ours. We actually are engaging in a hotel acquisition program now. So we'll be the owners of the hotels that we'll be bringing our program to, and we'll be
Nice.
the beneficiaries of all the value add. So in hotels, we would first start with a nanotechnology window film from a Canadian group that will is easily installed, gets installed on the interior of a building, can be installed in about 15 minutes per building, and it will
Per
lower.
building,
No, I'm sorry,
per window.
15 minutes per window.
Got it.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
that be great?
Yeah.
15 minutes per window, and it will lower the heat loss in the winter and the heat gain in the summer by about 40%.
Wow. So that's a film on the window.
The
Makes sense.
film on
That
the
comes from
window,
a
and
good
it does
Canadian company. We're freezing our buns off up here. So yeah, I can see
right.
that. Okay.
You
So
freeze.
cool.
That's right.
Hmm.
So, like in Canada, it's the heat loss component that's of particular importance, right?
Well,
Uh,
both nowadays. We just unfortunately had over 600 people died in a heat dome in Vancouver a couple of years
oh
ago
wow, yeah. Well,
because nobody had
welcome,
air conditioning. So yeah,
welcome
it's
to our
both
climate
now.
crisis. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So that's
window
pillar
film
number
is
one is
right.
to
So window
save a
film
bunch.
to
Yeah.
lower heat loss and heat gain, which goes right to improving the performance of the HVAC systems, heating, ventilation, cooling systems, right?
Yeah.
Um, we have a proprietary hotel room automation technology. It automates every component of the hotel room, and it includes a digital thermostat, which will help to further optimize the performance of the PTAC units. Those are the air conditioning units, AC and heating units inside hotel rooms, right? So
Yeah.
it will usually lower another 10 or 20% of the energy, the electricity usage from those PTAC units. Um, and so just those two components alone, if it's done in every hotel room, is going to be be
And you got like
substantial
60
savings.
things, 60 things kind of like that you do.
Well, that because that's right. And
Yeah.
we've got utility audits. We'll go back and we'll audit the utility bills for overbilling and billing errors. We will do in New York, in the United States, there are energy deregulated states. So you can get competitive bidding on your gas and electricity contracts. We will do that. We will do invoice investigations for the operating business, all the different invoice products and services. We
Yeah.
can usually we've got a partner, two different partners that are expert at either negotiating lower prices or finding new lower price vendors. So
Okay, great. So this is all part of phase one. Is that
this is
correct,
all
Robert?
part of phase one.
Okay, cool. So you got lots of those. Get the gist. Let's take a look at phase two. What
Yes.
does that look like?
So after we've started with phase one with the cost saving solutions done on a shared savings model,
Hmm.
we then move into phase two where we actually start to work on the building more actively, right? So this is when we provide comprehensive project management services, is what we've been doing for 25 years. We
Yeah.
bring together the entire team, and these are vendors, specialty vendors who we pull from our growing marketplace of leading edge clean tech and prop tech firms and so we bring them into our projects. We will also bring 100% financing to
Hmm.
finance all the soft and the hard costs of the upgrade. Um,
So
and
typically, what is getting upgraded in phase two? What's
Sure,
big broad strokes?
in phase two, you're going to be looking at optimizing the building shell. So we're already doing that with the window film, but then
Mhm.
there are simple things like adding insulation and air sealing, make the building shell higher performing, less loss of heat and cooling. Then it's going to always be almost always upgrading the HVAC system, either replacing it or rebuilding it. Then there are for things like cooling towers, there are additives that can be provided, which will improve the performance by about 20%. So after you make the building shell more higher performing, then you go to the HVAC system. Because we've made the shell that much higher performing, we don't need as much tonnage from the HVAC systems, right? So we
Okay,
can, if we install new, we can be installing smaller units, which
more
means not
efficient.
only is there lower first cost, then there's lower operating costs, right?
Okay,
So,
yeah.
and then all the electrical fixtures and appliance, lighting, all the electrical appliances. Lighting is a perfect example. LED lighting today is about 10, 20, 50%, 50 times more efficient than even the tube, the fluorescent tube bulb.
Wow.
So
50x.
it
Wow.
can be. It depends
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
but it's substantially higher performing. And that's true of almost every type of electrical appliance today, right? Um, Everything, washers, dryers, everything that's running on power can be significantly improved with higher performing new appliances and fixtures and the likes.
New equipment.
Plumbing as well. We also look at water savings for hotels, water savings for multifamily buildings, rental buildings. This could be a huge value add component to our program. Usually we can be lowering water costs by around 30%.
Wow.
So,
Just be
and that's month
more
after
efficient.
month. And
Yeah.
once the technology is installed, you carry on with those savings.
Yeah.
So water, we'll also look at more water savings, there are, for toilets, there's this one group we work with, they have a proprietary technology to lower the amount of water loss that happens in
Hmm.
typical toilets. They have a building-wide system, a valve that gets installed at the building entrance, which actually compresses the water and it eliminates a lot of the air that's in the
Oh, wow.
water. And by doing so, it lowers the volume of water that's being metered.
Yeah, no, that
So
makes sense.
strategies like that.
Yeah. Okay. So just because we're on a little crunch for
Yeah,
time here, Robert. So that's phase number two, gives us the gist. Phase number three, what does that look
yeah.
like?
So phase two, we're bringing the entire team. We're lowering utility costs, operating costs, and we're lowering carbon emissions, which is going into increasing the NOI and valuation.
Yeah.
Phase three, after we made the building more efficient, is our clean power installation phase. You don't want to install clean power technologies on inefficient buildings. I've seen that many, many times. It
So what
makes
what does that even mean? Clean
So what
power.
that means is, going way back when we were doing some solar installations, we had clients who had like, properties or houses with huge electrical loads, right?
Hmm.
And then they wanted us to install a solar system on their roof. And, meanwhile, if they would first lower the amount of electricity used with higher performance, fixtures and finishes and the likes technologies, we don't need to install as much clean power and much solar, let's say, on their roof. And what we install is going to be more productive. So, and there's growing number of clean power technologies that we can install. So we will install based on what's appropriate for each building. So
Okay.
then, and the beauty of clean power technologies is that they all have a payback period because they're providing the power, right? So once as the power get as the technology gets paid back, it becomes additional revenue streams for the building. It's like you've added, vending machines.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So, but you're also, by the way, you're decarbonizing with all this, right? So that
Hmm.
also opens up an opportunity to sell carbon credits as well. Um,
Wow.
so
Yeah, it's amazing. Let me see if I can recap the three phases in my own layman's terms. So if I understood it correctly, Robert, the first phase, I wouldn't want to call it superficial, but it's that idea of like simple, well, not simple, but smart things like window film and things like that, and analyzing the what were you doing? You were looking at how things were working on the interiors of the building, kind of doing those kind of things to really dial those in and to lower costs significantly, but more, no major construction
no
in phase
major
one.
capex, no
Yeah,
major construction in phase one.
right. Phase number two is the capex side of things where
That's
you're
right.
working on the shell of the building, you're getting new electrical outlets, your HVAC system, making everything really, really efficient. Then phase number three is now that you're efficient, bringing in clean energy, clean power. A lot of it sounds like it's solar. So, I mean, that's huge, big, broad strokes. But am I kind of get the gist there of the
Yeah, I
three
mean,
different
there are
phases?
growing options. There are
Yeah.
small scale wind options.
Mm.
There's cogeneration. There are a growing number of clean power technologies. But yes, phase one is cost saving solutions, minimal work done on the building. Phase two is when we do most of the work on the interior of the building to optimize its performance and lower its overall energy use. And phase three is the installation of clean power technologies, all of which is fully financed and managed from start to finish by our team.
Right. And then the way that, if I understood you correctly, especially in phase one, the way you're compensated is based on the savings that you're getting the building owner, right? So it's kind of uh, a profit share or a savings share on what you're able to
Yes,
lower their bills.
I like to say we're the joint venture partner
Yeah, that's
with
smart.
with the client, with the owner, because and we've structured our program and our compensation in that way. So
Yeah. So
if we
you
hit a home
you you
run,
make more money the more money you save them.
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we hit a home run and we've saved the client, a $500,000 annually, and we've done it with either no upfront cost or with fully financing, so there's no out-of-pocket costs. It's an interesting thing about return on investment analysis, right?
Hmm.
So um, in the was in the denominator. So in other words, that's what the costs that what the client paid, right?
Yeah.
If that number is zero, if the client's not, what happens to the ROI? It becomes
It's
infinite.
infinite. Yeah, it's infinite. Exactly.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So I think this is the greatest, anybody who owns commercial buildings, this is the greatest upside investment opportunity that's imaginable for them today. And
Yeah.
it's incredibly powerful. And we keep growing, by the way. We keep adding additional components to our program, to our cost saving solutions. We just added an amazing R&D tax credit that's going to save clients, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we're going to continue to add components to our
Yeah,
program.
because it changes all the time for
That's
sure.
right.
Robert, time flies when we're having fun. We'll have to have you back on the show to tell us a little bit about I think you're buying 12 hotels. You're going to be doing this yourself with your investors on
Yes.
your own building. So that's very exciting. But in the meantime, if somebody's listening to this and going, wow, I got a brown building I'd like to turn green, how can they get a hold of you?
Robert at greenstreetglobal.com would be the best way to email me,
Or
um,
just visit the website, I
or
guess. They can
visit
do
our
everything.
website,
Yeah.
greenstreetglobal.com. That'd be
Well,
the
that's
best way.
fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing what you're up to, Robert. That's been a lot
Thanks,
of fun.
Dave.
All right, everybody. Take care, and we will see you on the next one. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.